My name is Amanda. I'm 33 years old. Last Thanksgiving, my sister looked at my 7-year-old son and said he's not really family because his father is Mexican. She said this at our family dinner table, in front of 12 relatives, while my son was sitting right there, holding the homemade place card he'd made for her. My son Diego is my biological child. His father, my ex-husband Carlos, is Mexican American. And apparently that makes Diego not real family in my sister's eyes. I didn't scream. I didn't throw things. I just stood up, took my son's hand, and walked out of that dining room. But I didn't just walk away. I took something with me that would teach my sister exactly what not family really means. I took the kidney she'd been waiting 18 months for. I was her donor match. And I just became unavailable. 24 hours after my sister told my son he wasn't real family, she received a registered letter from my attorney. The letter was short. Dear Jennifer, I am writing to inform you that I am withdrawing from the living kidney donor program effective immediately. After careful consideration, I have decided to donate my kidney to someone who recognizes all children as equally deserving of love and family belonging, regardless of their ethnic background. I wish you the best in finding an alternative donor. Sincerely, Amanda. Attached was a copy of the donor withdrawal form I'd filed with the hospital, stamped, dated, official. My sister called me 17 times that day. I didn't answer. She sent texts. You're killing me. This is murder. How can you do this over one comment? I responded once. You told my 7-year-old son he's not really family. If he's not really family, then neither are you. And I don't give my organs to people who aren't really family. My mother called next, screaming. Your sister will die without that kidney. You're choosing your son over your sister's life. I am choosing my son, I said. That's what mothers do. We choose our children, even when it costs us everything, even when it costs their organs. But you were going to save her life. And she just told my son he's worthless because his dad is Mexican. So she can find someone else to save her life. Someone who thinks mixed kids are real family. Have you ever withdrawn something precious because someone showed they didn't value what's most precious to you? Comment below, because what I'm about to tell you isn't about revenge. It's about the moment I realized that sacrifice should never go to people who can't see your child's humanity. To understand how Thanksgiving dinner became the moment I withdrew my kidney, I need to take you back 2 years to when my sister Jennifer was diagnosed with stage 4 kidney disease. Jennifer is 3 years older than me. Growing up, we were close. She was my protector, my best friend, the person I called when anything good or bad happened in my life. When she was diagnosed at 36, I was devastated. The doctors said she needed a transplant. Without it, she had maybe 3 to 5 years. With dialysis, she could stretch it to 7 or 8. But quality of life would be terrible. I got tested immediately. I didn't even think about it. She's my sister. Of course I'd give her my kidney. When the results came back that I was a perfect match, I cried with relief. I could save her. I could give her decades more of life. The surgery was scheduled for January, 2 months after Thanksgiving. I'd already started the pre-donation process. Medical clearances, dietary changes, time off work arranged. Everything ready. But there was something I didn't know. Something Jennifer had been hiding for 7 years. Ever since I married Carlos. My ex-husband Carlos and I met in college. He's Mexican American, 3rd generation. His grandparents immigrated from Mexico in the 1950s. His family has been in Texas longer than mine has been in Ohio. We fell in love. Got married at 24. Had Diego when I was 26. Divorced when I was 30. The divorce had nothing to do with culture or race. Carlos and I just grew apart. We wanted different things. But we co-parent beautifully. Diego spends half his time with each of us. Throughout my marriage, Jennifer seemed supportive. She came to our wedding. She threw me a baby shower. She sent Diego birthday presents. But there were small things. Things I ignored because I wanted to believe my sister loved my son. She never learned to pronounce Diego's name correctly. She'd call him James, his middle name. When I corrected her, she'd say Diego is just so hard to say. When Diego started speaking Spanish with his dad, Jennifer told me it was confusing for him. He should just speak English. You're in America. When Carlos's family visited and spoke Spanish at my house, Jennifer would text me later. Do they not speak English? That was so rude. For Diego's third birthday, she bought him a blonde, blue-eyed action figure. When I gently suggested Diego might like toys that looked like him, she said, "Kids don't care about that stuff. He'll love it." At Christmas, when Diego was 5, he made cards for everyone with messages in English and Spanish. Jennifer's card said Happy Christmas and Feliz Navidad. She looked at it and said, "Why is there gibberish on my card?" Diego explained, "That's Spanish, Tia Jennifer." She corrected him. "I'm Aunt Jennifer. We don't use those words." I told her Diego was learning Spanish. "It's part of his heritage." She said, "He's half white too. Why doesn't he learn about that heritage?" I said, "He does. He lives with me. He's surrounded by white family. Spanish is what he gets from his dad." She dropped it. But I saw the look on her face. Over the years, there were more comments. When Diego was 6, she asked me, "When are you going to date a real American?" I said, "Carlos is a real American. He was born in Texas." She said, "You know what I mean. Someone normal." I started limiting how much time Diego spent with her. But I still saw her regularly. Because she was my sister. And because I was going to give her my kidney. The pre-donation process was intense. Medical appointments every week, blood tests, psychological evaluations to make sure I understood what I was doing. The psychologist asked me, "Why do you want to donate?" I said, "Because she's my sister. Because I love her. Because I can save her life." The psychologist asked, "Is there any part of you that feels pressured?" I said no. And I meant it. I wanted to do this. But I didn't know what was coming. Thanksgiving arrived. My mother hosted at her house, like every year. 20 people, extended family. Jennifer was there, looking tired. Dialysis was taking its toll. Diego had been so excited for Thanksgiving. He'd made place cards for everyone at the kids' table, hand-drawn turkeys with everyone's names in both English and Spanish. He'd written Jennifer's name as Jennifer/Yennefer, because that's how you say Jennifer in Spanish. When we arrived, Diego ran to the dining room to put the place cards on the table. I helped my mom in the kitchen. Jennifer was resting on the couch. Dinner time came. Everyone sat down. Diego was at the kids' table with his cousins. He was showing them the place cards he'd made. Jennifer walked over to the kids' table, picked up her place card, stared at it. "Diego, why did you spell my name wrong?" He looked up, confused. "I didn't. That's Spanish, Tia Jennifer," she snapped. "We speak English in this family," Diego said. "But Daddy speaks Spanish." Jennifer looked at him with such disdain. "Your daddy isn't family. You're only half family because of him." The room went silent. Diego's face crumpled. "What's half family?" Jennifer kept going. "Real family is all American. You're only half because your dad is Mexican, so you're not really part of this family. You're just here because your mom is." I stood up so fast my chair fell backwards. Diego started crying. "Mama, what does she mean?" I walked to the kids' table, took Diego's hand, looked at my sister. I said one word, "Out." Jennifer looked shocked. "What?" "Get out. Leave. Now." "Amanda, you're overreacting," my mother said. "She just told my son he's not really family. She's leaving. Or we are." Jennifer stood her ground. "I was just being honest. He should know." I picked up Diego. He wrapped his arms around my neck, still crying. I walked to the door. My mother followed me. "Amanda, please. Jennifer's sick. She didn't mean it." "Yes, she did. And we're leaving. But Thanksgiving is over for us." I drove home with Diego, crying in the back seat. When we got home, I held him while he sobbed. "Mama, am I not real family?" "You are absolutely real family. You are my family. You are your dad's family. You are your abuela's family. You are real and whole and perfect." But Aunt Jennifer said, "Aunt Jennifer is wrong. And she's going to learn exactly how wrong she is." That night, after Diego fell asleep, I sat at my kitchen table and made a decision. I called the transplant coordinator. Left a voicemail. "This is Amanda Chen. I need to withdraw from the living donor program for Jennifer Chen. I'll call back Monday to complete the formal process. Then I called my attorney, a friend from law school, explained what happened, asked him to draft a formal letter. He said, "Are you sure about this?" I said, "I've never been more sure of anything in my life." Monday morning, I went to the hospital, filled out the withdrawal forms. The coordinator asked if I was okay. I said, "I'm protecting my son. That's all I need to be." The letter was sent by registered mail. Jennifer had to sign for it. And then I waited. The day after Jennifer received my withdrawal letter, my phone exploded. Jennifer called 17 times. I didn't answer. My mother called 12 times. I answered once. "How could you do this to your sister? She's going to die." She told my son he's not really family because his father is Mexican. What did she think would happen? She was just upset. "She's sick. You can't take this personally." I'm not taking it personally. I'm taking it seriously. She doesn't see Diego as real family, so I don't see her as real family. And I don't give my organs to people who aren't real family. This is murder. No. This is consequences. She had 18 months of me preparing to save her life. 18 months to keep her mouth shut about her racism. She couldn't do it. Now she can find another donor. There are no other donors. You're the only match. That's not my problem anymore. My brother called next. He's the middle child, usually the peacemaker. "Amanda, I understand you're upset. What Jennifer said was wrong, but she needs that kidney." Then she should have thought about that before she told a 7-year-old he's not really family. Can we just talk about this? I've been talking about Jennifer's racism for 7 years. Nobody listened. Now I'm done talking. I'm acting. By acting, you mean letting our sister die? I mean protecting my son. If she dies because she can't find another donor, that's on her, not on me. My father called. He'd been quiet about the whole thing until now. "Amanda, I need you to reconsider." "No. Just listen." "No, Dad, you listen. Diego is 7 years old. He made place cards for everyone with their names in Spanish because he's proud of his heritage, and his aunt told him he's not really family, in front of 12 people. And not one of you said anything. You all just sat there. I didn't know what to say. How about, Jennifer, that's completely unacceptable. How about, Diego is absolutely real family. How about standing up for your grandson?" Silence. That's what I thought. So no, I'm not reconsidering. I'm done sacrificing for people who don't value my son. I hung up. Jennifer sent texts, dozens of them. "Amanda, please. I'm sorry. I didn't mean it." I responded. "You told a child he's not really family. You absolutely meant it." I was having a bad day. I'm on dialysis. I'm tired. I wasn't thinking. "You've been thinking it for 7 years. This was just the first time you said it out loud. Please. I'll apologize to Diego. I'll make it right." "No. You won't. Because you don't think you did anything wrong. You think I'm overreacting. I'm desperate. I need that kidney. And I need my sister to see my son as fully human. We don't always get what we need." She tried a different approach. "What if I go to therapy? What if I learn about Mexican culture? What if I take a Spanish class? I don't want you to perform wokeness for my organ. I want you to actually believe my son is equal to you, and you don't." "How do you know what I believe?" "Because you said it, out loud, to his face. You're only half family because your dad is Mexican. Those were your exact words." "I was wrong. I'm sorry." "Say that to Diego." She didn't respond for 6 hours. Then, "I can't apologize to a child for something he doesn't understand. And that's why you're not getting my kidney." My mother organized a family meeting, everyone except me and Diego. They discussed what to do. I know because my brother called me afterward. They want to stage an intervention. Get you to change your mind. I'm not changing my mind. Mom thinks if we all talk to you together, you'll see reason. I see reason perfectly clearly. Jennifer is a racist. I'm not giving my organs to a racist. There's nothing to discuss. She's our sister. And Diego is my son. He wins. Every time. The family meeting happened without me. I heard about it through various calls and texts. My mother proposed that Jennifer apologize publicly at the next family gathering. I could bring Diego. Jennifer would say she was wrong. Everyone would witness it. Then, I'd agree to donate. I texted back, no. My mother, why not? Me. Because she's only apologizing to get my kidney. That's not a real apology. That's manipulation. My mother. How do you know? Me. Because if she actually felt bad, she would have apologized immediately, not after she got the withdrawal letter. My aunt, my mother's sister, called me. She'd been at Thanksgiving. She'd heard what Jennifer said. Amanda, I think you're making the right choice. I almost cried. Thank you. What Jennifer said was inexcusable. I've been thinking about it nonstop. That poor child. Is he okay? He's seeing a counselor. He keeps asking why Aunt Jennifer doesn't think he's real. Your mother asked me to convince you to donate anyway. I told her absolutely not. What Jennifer said wasn't a slip of the tongue. It was years of racism finally coming out. Thank you for seeing that. I want you to know, if you need support, I'm here. I'll stand with you, even if the rest of the family doesn't. That meant everything. Diego started having nightmares. He'd wake up crying, asking if I thought he was real family. I'd hold him. Baby, you are so real. You are so loved. You are so wanted. Aunt Jennifer is wrong. But what if other people think that too? Then those people are wrong too. And we don't need them in our lives. I took Diego to see Carlos. Explained what happened at Thanksgiving. Carlos was furious. She said, "What to my son?" I told him everything, including the kidney withdrawal. Carlos looked at me with so much respect. You did the right thing. She's going to die without a transplant. That's her problem. She told our son he's less than because of me, because of where my family comes from. You think I want you risking your life for someone like that? I just wanted you to know, in case Diego says something when he's with you. Carlos knelt down in front of Diego. Mijo, listen to me. You are 100% family, 100% loved, 100% perfect exactly as you are. Your tia Jennifer is wrong. And it's okay to be angry at her. Diego hugged his dad and cried. That night, I got a call from the hospital transplant coordinator. Amanda, I need to inform you that your sister has been placed back on the general transplant list. However, her chances of finding a deceased donor match are low. Her blood type is rare. Without a living donor, she's looking at 3 to 5 years. I understand. I also need to tell you, if you change your mind, we can restart the donation process. But you'd have to go through all the evaluations again. It would take 3 to 4 months. I won't be changing my mind. Can I ask why you withdrew? My sister told my 7-year-old son that he's not really family because his father is Mexican. I don't give my organs to people who think my child is subhuman. The coordinator was quiet for a moment. Then she said, I understand. I'm sorry that happened to your son. Thank you. One more thing. Your sister's medical team asked me to reach out. They want to know if there's anything that could change your mind. No, there isn't. 2 weeks after Thanksgiving, Jennifer showed up at my house. Unannounced. I opened the door. Diego was at Carlos's house. We need to talk, Jennifer said. No, we don't. Please, just 5 minutes. I let her in. We sat in my living room. She looked terrible, thin, pale. Dialysis was brutal. I'm sorry, she said. For what specifically? For what I said to Diego. And what did you say? That he's not really family because Carlos is Mexican. Do you believe that? No. You said it. I was wrong. But did you believe it when you said it? She hesitated. Just a fraction of a second, but I saw it. That's what I thought. Get out. Amanda. Please. You still think it. You're just sorry you said it out loud. You're sorry you're facing consequences, but you still think my son is less than because he's half Mexican. That's not true. Then why did you hesitate? If you truly believe he's equal to you, there would be no hesitation. But there was, which means you still think it. You're just smart enough not to say it anymore. I need that kidney. And I need my son to grow up knowing his family sees him as fully human. We can't always get what we need. She started crying. I'm going to die. Maybe. Or maybe you'll find another donor. Or maybe you'll get a deceased donor. Or maybe you'll live on dialysis for years. I don't know. But I know I'm not giving you my kidney. How can you be so cold? I'm not cold. I'm clear. You want my organ. But you don't think my son is a full person. Those two things can't coexist. She left. That night, I got a text from my mother. Jennifer came home crying. What did you say to her? I told her the truth. She still thinks Diego is less than. She just knows not to say it anymore. You're cruel. I'm honest. There's a difference. 3 weeks after I withdrew as Jennifer's donor, the full extent of her racism became clear. My brother called me. Amanda, I need to tell you something. I should have told you years ago. What? Jennifer and I had a conversation. Right after you married Carlos. She asked me if I thought you were making a mistake. I felt my stomach drop. What did you say? I asked her what she meant. She said Carlos seemed nice, but was he really the right fit for our family? I thought she meant because he was from Texas and we're from Ohio. Geographic stuff. But that's not what she meant. No, she said. I just think Amanda could do better. Someone more like us. More like us meaning white. I didn't understand at the time. I just said you loved Carlos and that's what mattered. She dropped it. But over the years, there were other comments. Tell me. When you were pregnant with Diego, she asked me if I thought the baby would look white or Mexican. Like those were two separate species. Oh my God. When Diego was born and she saw how dark his hair was, she told me it was a shame he didn't get your coloring. Like his actual coloring was a defect. I felt sick. When Diego was 2 and started talking, she complained that he was learning Spanish. She said you were confusing him, that he should just speak English like a normal kid. You never told me any of this. I know. I'm sorry. I thought she'd grow out of it. I thought once she spent more time with Diego, she'd realize how ignorant she was being. But she didn't. No, she got worse. When Diego was 4, she asked me if you were going to enroll him in regular school or if he'd need ESL classes. He was born here. He speaks perfect English. I know. I told her that, she said. But he speaks Spanish too. Won't that confuse the teachers? This whole time you knew she was racist against my son, and you said nothing. I'm sorry. Sorry doesn't help. You could have warned me. You could have told me not to let Diego spend time alone with her. You could have spoken up at Thanksgiving when she said he wasn't real family. But you didn't. I know. So you're complicit. You enabled her for 7 years. You're right. I did. And I'm sorry. Why are you telling me this now? Because everyone is pressuring you to donate anyway. And I can't let you do that without knowing the full truth. Jennifer didn't just slip up at Thanksgiving. She's been thinking this way about Diego his entire life. She's been thinking this way about Carlos since before you married him. Does Mom know? Some of it. She tells herself Jennifer doesn't mean it. That it's just how Jennifer talks, that we're too sensitive. And Dad? Dad tries not to think about it. He loves Diego. But he doesn't want to confront Jennifer. So everyone just let her be racist to my kid for 7 years. Yes. I hung up. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about all the times Jennifer had been alone with Diego, all the times I'd trusted her to babysit, all the comments she might have made when I wasn't there. I called Carlos. Did Diego ever say anything about Jennifer treating him differently? Carlos was quiet for a minute. Why? Just answer. When he was 5, he asked me why Tia Jennifer always called him James and never Diego. I asked him what he meant. He said she told him James was easier for her to say. She told him that? Yeah. I told him his name is Diego and people should use his name. I didn't push it because I figured it was just her being difficult. But now we know it's because she couldn't stand his Mexican name. Jesus. Is there anything else? When he was 6, he asked why Tia Jennifer never asked about me. Like, you'd pick him up from her house, and she'd ask about your day, your work, your life, but never about me, never about what we did on my days with him. Because asking about you meant acknowledging you exist. Diego noticed it. He's a smart kid. He told me once, I don't think Tia Jennifer likes you, Papa. What did you say? I said, some people have a hard time with people who are different from them. And that it was her problem, not his. But I didn't know she was actively telling him he wasn't real family. She wasn't. Not until Thanksgiving. but she was thinking it the whole time. I'm glad you withdrew that kidney. She doesn't deserve it. The family pressure intensified. My mother organized a family dinner, without me, to discuss the Jennifer situation. My aunt who'd supported me was there. She called me afterward. Your mother wants everyone to sign a letter asking you to reconsider. Did you sign it? Hell no. I told them what Jennifer said was racist and unforgivable. Your mother said I was being dramatic. Of course she did. Half the family agrees with me. Half agrees with your mother. It's split right down the middle. Who's on which side? Your brother is on your side now. After he told you about Jennifer's history, your cousin Maria is on your side. She said her kids are half Puerto Rican and she'd do the same thing if anyone said that to them. Your cousin David is on your side. He's married to a Korean woman and said he understands completely. Who's against me? Your mother. Your father, although he's quieter about it. Your Aunt Carol. Your Uncle Jim. Basically the older generation who think family loyalty means forgiving anything. Did they send the letter? They're planning to. 12 people signed it. Send it. I want to see who's willing to put their name on it. The letter arrived 3 days later. Certified mail. Dear Amanda, we are writing as your family to ask you to reconsider your decision regarding Jennifer's kidney donation. We understand you were hurt by Jennifer's comment at Thanksgiving. However, we believe that family should forgive family, especially in life or death situations. Jennifer is sick and needs your help. We hope you can find it in your heart to put aside your anger and save your sister's life. Signed, followed by 12 names. I read the letter 3 times. Then I wrote my response. Dear family, thank you for your letter. I appreciate you making it so clear where you stand. To be clear, Jennifer did not make a comment. She told my 7-year-old son that he is not really family because his father is Mexican. She said this in front of 12 people, including many of you who signed this letter. Not one of you spoke up. Not one of you defended my son. You sat there and let a child be told he's not fully human because of his ethnicity. Now you want me to give my organ to the person who said that. You want me to risk my life, undergo major surgery, and live with 1 kidney for the rest of my life, for someone who thinks my child is subhuman? The answer is no. If you think family loyalty means accepting racism, you have a very different definition of family than I do. My family is the people who see my son as fully worthy of love and respect. Jennifer is not one of those people. Neither are any of you who signed this letter. Sincerely, Amanda. I mailed it back to all 12 people who'd signed. Within 2 days, 3 people called to apologize and ask that I remove their names. They said they'd signed because my mother had pressured them. They didn't actually think I should donate. I told them it was too late. They'd shown me who they were. Jennifer tried one more approach. She wrote to Diego. Dear Diego, I am sorry for what I said at Thanksgiving. You are my nephew and I love you very much. I hope we can still be family. Love, Aunt Jennifer. The letter arrived at my house. Diego read it. Then he looked at me. Does she mean it? I don't know, baby. What do you think? He thought for a long time. I don't think so. Because if she meant it, she would say sorry for saying I'm not real family. But she just says sorry for what I said. Like she doesn't even want to say the words again. You're very smart. Does she still need your kidney? Yes. Are you going to give it to her? No. Because of what she said to me? Yes. And because even if she says sorry, she still thinks it. And I can't give my kidney to someone who thinks you're less than. Okay. He paused. Mama, I don't want you to give her your kidney, even if she says sorry for real. Because what if something bad happens to you during the surgery? Then I won't have a mama. And that's scarier than Aunt Jennifer being sick. Oh, baby. I'm not going to give her my kidney, I promise. Good. That night, I posted the whole story on Facebook. Not on my personal page, on a private group for parents of mixed-race children. I wrote everything. Jennifer's comment, the kidney withdrawal, the family pressure, the letter with 12 signatures. The response was overwhelming. Hundreds of comments, almost all supportive. You did the right thing. Your child comes first. I would do the same thing. She doesn't deserve your organ. The fact that your family is pressuring you shows they don't see what she did as serious. They're all complicit. Several people shared their own stories. Parents who'd cut off family members for racism against their kids. People who'd been told by relatives that their mixed-race children weren't really family. I realized I wasn't alone. One woman wrote, "My mother told my daughter she'd be prettier if she looked more white. I never spoke to her again. 15 years later, I don't regret it." Another wrote, "My brother told my son he should just tell people he's white because he's light enough to pass. I told my brother to get out and never contact us again." Family doesn't mean accepting racism. Reading those stories gave me strength. Jennifer had 3 to 5 years without a transplant. Maybe less if her health declined faster than expected, maybe more if she was lucky. But she'd have those years knowing exactly what her racism had cost her. A kidney, a sister, a nephew, and the moral high ground. 4 months after I withdrew as Jennifer's donor, she appeared on local news. The segment was called "Desperate Search for Kidney Donor." Jennifer sat in the studio, pale and frail, telling her story. "I have stage 4 kidney disease," she said. "I need a transplant. I had a donor, my sister, but she withdrew. Now I'm searching for someone else who can save my life." The interviewer asked, "Why did your sister withdraw?" Jennifer's face was carefully neutral. "We had a family disagreement. She decided she couldn't donate anymore." "What kind of disagreement?" "I'd rather not say. I don't want to make this about family drama. I just want to find a donor." But the interviewer pressed, "Your sister was a perfect match. That's incredibly rare. What could have caused her to withdraw?" Jennifer started crying. "I said something I shouldn't have. I was sick and tired and on dialysis. I wasn't thinking clearly. I hurt her feelings, and now she won't save my life." The segment ended with Jennifer's contact information for potential donors. My phone exploded. Friends sending me the video. Family members asking if I'd seen it. Strangers messaging me, calling me heartless. One message said, "Your sister is dying, and you're letting it happen over hurt feelings? You're a monster." Another said, "I don't know what she said to you, but nothing is worth letting your sister die." I watched the video 3 times. Jennifer had positioned herself as the victim. The sick woman, abandoned by her cruel sister, over something she said while not thinking clearly. She'd erased Diego entirely. I made a decision. I called the same news station, asked to speak to the producer who'd done Jennifer's segment. "This is Amanda Chen. You interviewed my sister Jennifer about needing a kidney donor." The producer's voice brightened. "Are you calling to say you'll donate after all?" "No. I'm calling to tell you the rest of the story." "What do you mean?" "My sister said we had a family disagreement. What she didn't tell you is that she told my 7-year-old son he's not really family because his father is Mexican. In front of 12 relatives, and not one person defended him." The producer was quiet. I continued. "She said my son is only half family because his dad is Mexican. She said he's not really part of our family, he's just here because I'm his mom." She said this to his face. He was holding a homemade place card he'd made for her. Oh my God. So yes, I withdrew as her donor, not because of hurt feelings, not because of a family disagreement, but because I don't give my organs to people who think my child is subhuman. "Can you come in for an interview?" "Yes, I can." 2 days later, I sat in the same studio where Jennifer had sat. The same interviewer. The segment aired the following week. They showed Jennifer's interview first, then mine. I sat calmly and told the truth. "My sister has been making racist comments about my son for 7 years. She's called his name too hard to pronounce and insisted on using his middle name instead. She's complained about him speaking Spanish. She's bought him toys that look nothing like him. And at Thanksgiving, in front of our entire family, she told him he's not really family because his father is Mexican." The interviewer looked shocked. "She said that to a 7-year-old?" "Yes. While he was holding a place card he'd made for her. He'd written her name in Spanish. She told him we don't use those words. Then she told him his father isn't family, and he's only half family because of his father's ethnicity. That's horrible. I was going to give her my kidney. I'd been preparing for 18 months. I'd done all the medical clearances. Surgery was scheduled for 2 months after Thanksgiving. But after what she said to my son, I withdrew. Because I realized that giving her my kidney would be telling my son that racism is acceptable, that his humanity is negotiable. And I won't teach him that. What does your family say? Half of them sent me a letter asking me to donate anyway. They think family loyalty means forgiving racism. The other half supports my decision. The interviewer paused. What would it take for you to reconsider? Nothing. There is nothing my sister could do to make me give her my kidney now. Even if she went to therapy, learned Spanish, read every book on racism, it wouldn't matter. Because the moment she needed my help, she positioned herself as the victim and erased what she said to my son. That tells me everything I need to know about whether she's actually sorry. The segment ended with my contact information and a statement. I am not looking for donors for my sister. This is not a call for help. This is a call for accountability. The video went viral. Within 24 hours, it had 2 million views. The comments were split. Half the people supported me. She told a child he's not real family because of his race. She doesn't deserve your kidney. You're protecting your son. That's what good mothers do. The other half condemned me. She's sick and dying. You should forgive her. Family is family. You're letting her die over words. But the tide turned when Diego's school photo appeared online. Someone had found my Facebook, found photos of Diego, posted them with the caption, "This is the child," Jennifer Chen said, "isn't real family because his dad is Mexican." Diego's face, 7 years old, huge brown eyes, beautiful smile, holding a sign in Spanish for a school project. Suddenly, the people calling me heartless had a face to attach to the story. The comments shifted. "Oh my God, he's just a baby. How could she say that to him?" Looking at his face and imagining someone telling him he's not real family makes me sick. This isn't about hurt feelings. This is about a child being told he's not fully human. The mom is right to protect him. Jennifer tried to do damage control. She posted on Facebook. "I made a terrible mistake. I said something hurtful to my nephew. I'm deeply sorry. I'm asking for forgiveness and a second chance." But it was too late. The internet had seen through her. Someone found my brother's account of what Jennifer had said about Carlos and me over the years. He'd posted it in a private group, but it got screenshot and shared. Jennifer has been racist against her sister's husband and child for 7 years. This wasn't a slip of the tongue. This was a pattern. The local news followed up with a third segment. Community divided over kidney donor controversy. They interviewed people on both sides. A woman who said, "I had a family member donate a kidney to me. It saved my life. I can't imagine losing that because of something I said." Another person said, "If that family member had told your child they weren't fully human because of their race, would you still expect the donation?" The woman hesitated, then said, "No, probably not." They interviewed a medical ethicist. Living organ donation is a choice. The donor has absolute right to withdraw consent at any time, for any reason. But beyond the legal right, there's the moral question. Does refusing to donate make you responsible for the person's death? The ethicist continued. In this case, I'd argue no. The donor has a primary responsibility to her child. Protecting her child from racism, even from family, is a valid moral choice. The person who created this situation is the one who made racist statements, not the one who withdrew. They interviewed Diego's therapist. Obviously, I can't discuss this specific case, but I can say that children who are told they're not fully part of their family because of their ethnicity suffer long-term psychological harm. They struggle with identity, self-worth, and belonging. Protecting a child from that harm is not only justified, it's necessary. The segment ended with a question for viewers. What would you do? The polls on social media were split. 52% said they'd withdraw the kidney. 48% said they'd donate anyway. But in the comments, more and more people were sharing their own experiences with family racism. My grandmother told me I wasn't really Chinese because I was mixed. I stopped seeing her. 20 years later, I don't regret it. My uncle said my kids were tainted because their dad is black. I cut him off completely. If I'd been in a position to withdraw an organ donation, I would have. Jennifer started losing friends. People who'd known her for years publicly unfriended her on Facebook with statements. I can't support someone who thinks a child isn't fully human because of his ethnicity. Her employer, a nonprofit that worked with immigrant families, quietly asked her to resign. "We can't have someone on staff who holds these views about Latino children." She posted, "I'm being canceled for one mistake." Someone responded, "You're facing consequences for racism. That's not cancellation, that's accountability." My mother tried one last time. She called me crying. "Jennifer is losing everything. Her job, her friends, her reputation. Please, Amanda, make this stop." "I can make it stop by giving her my kidney and telling everyone to forgive her. Is that what you want?" "Yes." "Then you're asking me to teach my son that racism has no consequences, that he should accept being told he's not fully human. I won't do that." "Then what do you want?" "I want you to stop defending her. I want you to acknowledge that what she said was racist and wrong. I want you to support me protecting my son." "She's sick, and Diego is 7. She had a choice. She could have kept her mouth shut. She could have treated my son with basic human decency. She chose racism. These are her consequences." "You're heartless." "No. I'm a mother. And I will always choose my child over people who can't see his worth." I hung up. That night, Diego asked me about the news stories. "Mama, people on the internet are talking about me." "I know. I'm sorry." "Why did you tell everyone what Aunt Jennifer said?" "Because she went on TV and lied. She made herself look like the victim. She made me look cruel. But she didn't tell anyone what she said to you." "So I told them." "Are people mad at you?" "Some people are. They think I should give her my kidney anyway." "What do you think?" "I think I'm doing the right thing. I think protecting you is more important than anything else." He hugged me. "I'm glad you're my mama. I'm glad you're my son." 6 months after I withdrew as Jennifer's donor, she collapsed at dialysis. She was rushed to the hospital. Her kidney function had deteriorated faster than expected. She was moved to the ICU. My mother called me, hysterical. "You need to come to the hospital. Jennifer might die." "I'm not coming." "She's your sister. She's also the person who told my son he's not real family. I'm not going to stand by her bedside and pretend we're okay. She could die today. Then I hope she finds peace. But I'm not coming." "How can you be so cold?" "I'm not cold. I'm consistent. She chose racism. I chose my son. Those choices have consequences." I hung up. My brother called next. "Amanda, I know you're angry, but she's really sick. This might be the end." "I understand. Don't you want to say goodbye?" "No." He was quiet. "Then, okay. I get it. Thank you." Jennifer survived, but barely. She was in the ICU for 2 weeks. During that time, my mother launched a final campaign to change my mind. She posted on Facebook, "My daughter is letting her sister die over a misunderstanding. Please help me convince her to save Jennifer's life." The comments were brutal, not the way my mother expected. "If that misunderstanding was telling a child he's not real family because of his race, your daughter is right to protect him. You raised a daughter who's racist and another daughter who's strong enough to hold her accountable. Be proud of the one doing the right thing. Stop calling it a misunderstanding. Your daughter called a 7-year-old subhuman. The other daughter is protecting her child. You should support her." My mother deleted the post. Jennifer was released from the hospital after 3 weeks. She was weaker, paler. The doctor told her she had maybe a year without a transplant. She went back on local news. This time, she told the full story. "I said something terrible to my nephew. I told him he wasn't really family because his father is Mexican. It was racist. It was wrong. I have no excuse. And now my sister won't save my life. I don't blame her. I destroyed our relationship. I just hope that by telling the truth now, someone else might be willing to help me." The segment ended with a plea for donors. But the damage was done. The virality of the story meant everyone already knew. And most people had made up their minds. One woman called the news station. "I was considering being tested as a donor after I saw Jennifer's first interview, but after I found out what she said to that child, I withdrew my application. I have grandchildren who are mixed race. I can't support someone who thinks like that." Another potential donor said, "I understand she's sick. But her racism isn't my problem to fix. She created this situation. She can deal with the consequences." Jennifer got 7 inquiries about donation after her second interview. 3 withdrew after doing more research. 2 were ruled out medically. 2 were still being tested. But the odds weren't good. My mother tried a new tactic. She brought Diego into it. She called Carlos, asked if she could take Diego for ice cream. Carlos called me. Your mom wants to see Diego. What should I tell her? What does Diego want? He says he'll go if you say it's okay. I called Diego. Baby, do you want to see Grandma? I don't know. Will she be mad at me? Why would she be mad at you? Because I'm the reason you won't give Aunt Jennifer your kidney. Oh, honey, no. This has nothing to do with you. Aunt Jennifer is the reason I won't give her my kidney. You didn't do anything wrong. But if I forgive her, will you give it to her? My heart broke. Is that what Grandma said? She said, maybe if I tell you I forgive Aunt Jennifer, you'll change your mind. That's not fair to you. You don't have to forgive someone who hurt you just to make adults happy. So I don't have to see Grandma? Only if you want to. I don't want to. Not if she's going to ask me to fix this. I called Carlos back. Diego doesn't want to go. Tell my mother no, Carlos told her. She called me screaming. You're using my grandson as a weapon. No. I'm protecting my grandson from manipulation. You wanted to take him for ice cream so you could convince him to forgive Jennifer so I'd donate. That's manipulation. I just wanted to talk to him about forgiving someone who told him he's not real family. He's 8 years old. He doesn't need that pressure. Jennifer is dying. And whose fault is that? Yours. No, it's Jennifer's. She created this situation. She has to live with it. And so do you. I hung up and blocked her number. My father called. He'd been mostly quiet through all of this. Amanda, I need to say something. Okay. I think you're right. I almost dropped the phone. What? About Jennifer. About the kidney. About all of it. I've been thinking a lot these past 6 months. And I realized something. If someone had said to you what Jennifer said to Diego, I would have lost my mind. I would have defended you. I would have demanded an apology. I wouldn't have sat quietly and told everyone to forgive and forget. You're right. So why did I do that when it was Diego? Why did I tell you to just donate anyway and move on? Because you didn't think it was that serious? No, because I didn't want to confront my daughter's racism. It was easier to pressure you than to hold Jennifer accountable. And I'm sorry. I started crying. Thank you. I know I can't undo the damage. I can't give you back 6 months of family support. But I want you to know, I see it now. What Jennifer said was unforgivable. And you're doing the right thing by protecting Diego. Thank you, Dad. Can I ask you something? Of course. If Jennifer apologizes, really apologizes, not to get your kidney, but because she actually understands what she did, would you ever forgive her? Maybe. Eventually. But I'd never donate. That ship has sailed. I understand. Dad? Yeah? Can you tell Diego you support me? He needs to hear it from you. I'll call him right now. My father called Diego that night. I listened on speaker. Diego, this is Grandpa. I want to tell you something important. What your Aunt Jennifer said to you was wrong. It was mean and hurtful and not true. You are absolutely real family. You are my grandson. I love you exactly as you are. And your mama is right to protect you. Diego was quiet. Then he said, Thank you, Grandpa. I'm sorry I didn't say this sooner. I should have said it at Thanksgiving. I should have told Aunt Jennifer to apologize right then. I didn't, and I'm sorry. It's okay. No, it's not. But I'm going to do better, okay? Okay. After the call, Diego looked at me. Does Grandpa really mean it? I think so. He's trying. That's good. Yeah. It is. 8 months after I withdrew as Jennifer's donor, she found a potential match. A distant cousin I'd never met. He lived across the country. He'd seen the news stories and reached out. He was tested. He was compatible. Surgery was scheduled for 2 months out. Jennifer posted on Facebook. I found a donor. Thank you to everyone who supported me through this difficult time. I'm going to get a second chance at life. The comments were mostly congratulatory. But a few people asked, Have you apologized to your nephew? Jennifer didn't respond. I felt relieved. Not because I wanted her to die, but because the pressure was off me. Then, 3 weeks before the surgery, the cousin withdrew. He posted publicly, "I was planning to donate my kidney to Jennifer Chen. However, after speaking with several family members and learning more about the full context of what happened with her sister, I've decided to withdraw. I don't feel comfortable donating to someone who told a child he's not real family because of his ethnicity. I hope Jennifer can find another donor who feels differently." The post went viral. Again, Jennifer's last hope had evaporated, publicly, with a clear explanation. "My mother called me. This is your fault." "How is this my fault? You poisoned the family against her. You made everyone think she's a monster. Now even strangers won't help her. She did this to herself. She told an 8-year-old he's not real family. She went on TV and lied about it. She never apologized to Diego. These are her consequences. She's going to die." Then maybe she should have thought about that before being racist to a child. How can you live with yourself? Easily. My son is thriving. He's confident. He's loved. He knows I will always protect him. That's how I live with myself. Jennifer has weeks, maybe months. I'm sorry to hear that, truly, but it doesn't change anything. She hung up. That night, Jennifer posted again. "I'm out of options. No transplant. No donor. I have maybe 6 months. I want to use this time to say I'm sorry. To my nephew Diego. I was wrong. What I said was cruel and racist. You are absolutely real family. You always were. I just couldn't see it because of my own prejudice and ignorance. I'm sorry." The post was shared thousands of times. People commented, "It's too late. You only apologized because you're dying. Where was this apology a year ago?" Others said, "At least she's admitting it. That takes courage." My brother sent me a screenshot. "What do you think?" "I think she's dying and she's scared and she wants absolution. But apologizing on Facebook isn't the same as apologizing to Diego." "Are you going to let him see it?" "He's on the internet. He'll probably see it anyway. But I'll talk to him about it." I sat down with Diego that night, showed him Jennifer's post. "What do you think?" He read it carefully. Then he said, "I think she's sorry she's dying. I don't know if she's sorry for what she said." "That's very wise." "Do you think I should forgive her? Do you want to forgive her?" "I don't know. She hurt my feelings. She made me think I wasn't real. It took a long time to feel real again." "Then, you don't have to forgive her. Forgiveness is for you, not for her. You only forgive when you're ready." "Okay." He paused. "Mama, is it bad that I'm not sad she's dying?" "Oh honey, that's complicated. It's okay to have mixed feelings. She's sick and that's sad. But she also hurt you, and that's valid. You can feel both things." "I mostly just feel nothing. Like she's not really my aunt anymore. That's okay too." A week later, Jennifer requested to see Diego. "Through my father, Dad called me. Jennifer wants to apologize to Diego in person. She doesn't have much time left. Can you bring him to see her?" "No. Amanda, please. She's dying. Let her make peace. She can make peace with herself. Diego doesn't owe her forgiveness. Just one visit. Supervised, you can be there the whole time. I'll ask Diego." "But if he says no, the answer is no." I asked Diego. He said no. I told my father. Dad told Jennifer. Jennifer posted on Facebook again. "I asked to see my nephew so I could apologize in person. He doesn't want to see me. I understand. I destroyed that relationship. I just want him to know, wherever he is, that he was always real family. I was the one who wasn't real. Real family doesn't make children feel less than. I failed at being real family. I'm sorry." The post got 50,000 shares. People sent me messages. "Let her see him. She's dying. She deserves closure." Others sent messages. "Your son doesn't owe her anything. Protect his peace." I protected his peace. 2 weeks later, my mother organized a family gathering. Everyone except me and Diego. She wanted the family to say goodbye to Jennifer. 30 people came. They took photos. They cried. They told stories about Jennifer before she got sick. My brother was there. He called me afterward. It was hard. Seeing her so weak. So close to the end. "I'm sorry you're going through this. Mom asked if you'd come. I told her you wouldn't. She broke down crying. I can't come. It would send Diego the wrong message. That racism is forgivable if someone is dying. I won't teach him that. I told Mom that. She said you're cruel. I'm consistent. I know. I support you. I just wanted you to know what's happening. Thank you. Jennifer died 3 weeks later. At home, with my parents beside her. I found out through a text from my brother. Jennifer passed this morning. Funeral is Friday. I'm not coming, I figured. Do you want me to tell Mom or should I? You can tell her. He texted back an hour later. Mom says if you don't come to the funeral, she's done with you. I texted back. Then she's done with me. The funeral happened without me. 200 people attended. My mother gave a eulogy. She talked about Jennifer's kindness, her humor, her strength through illness. Then she said, "My daughter Amanda isn't here today. She chose to stay away. I hope she can live with that choice." Someone recorded it, posted it online. The comments were split, as always. Her sister refused to save her life and now won't even attend her funeral. That's cold. Her sister protected her child from racism. She doesn't owe a racist her presence, even at a funeral. I didn't go. I don't regret it. Diego asked me, "Are you sad Aunt Jennifer died?" I'm sad that she couldn't be better. I'm sad that she died without fixing what she broke. But I'm not sad we didn't see her. Is that bad? No, baby. It's honest. 2 months after Jennifer's funeral, my mother showed up at my house. Unannounced. I opened the door. Diego was at school. "We need to talk." "No, we don't. I'm still your mother. And I'm still Diego's mother. Which means I protect him from people who enable racism. That includes you. I never enabled anything. You sent me a letter with 12 signatures, asking me to donate my kidney to someone who called my son subhuman. You told me I was choosing my son over my sister's life, like that was a bad thing. You brought Diego into it, trying to manipulate him into forgiving her. You absolutely enabled her. I was trying to save Jennifer's life by sacrificing Diego's sense of self-worth, by teaching him that racism has no consequences, by showing him that his humanity is negotiable if family needs something. No, you were trying to save Jennifer at Diego's expense. I wouldn't allow it. She's dead now. Doesn't that change anything? No, it doesn't. Jennifer died. That's sad. But it doesn't erase what she said. It doesn't erase what you did. What I did? You defended her. You minimized what she said. You called me cruel for protecting my son. You told the whole family I was heartless. You tried to use Diego to manipulate me. You gave a eulogy where you blamed me for not being at the funeral. I was grieving, and I've been grieving for 2 years. Grieving the sister I thought I had. Grieving the mother I thought you were. Grieving the family that should have protected my son but didn't. I did my best. Your best was terrible. Your best was choosing your racist daughter over your mixed-race grandson. Your best was enabling bigotry because it was easier than confrontation. Your best wasn't good enough. She started crying. I lost one daughter. I can't lose both. You're not losing me. You lost me. 2 years ago. When you chose Jennifer's racism over Diego's humanity. I didn't choose racism. Yes, you did. Every time you defended her. Every time you told me to forgive her. Every time you said it wasn't that serious. Those were choices. You chose wrong. What do you want from me? I want you to admit you were wrong. I want you to apologize to Diego. I want you to acknowledge that protecting him was the right thing to do, even if it meant Jennifer died without a transplant. I want you to say it out loud. She was silent. That's what I thought. You still can't do it. You still think I should have donated. You still think family loyalty means accepting racism. You haven't learned anything. That's not fair. Life isn't fair. Diego learned that when his aunt told him he wasn't real family, when his grandmother defended that aunt, when his entire family chose a racist over him. He learned life isn't fair at 8 years old, so don't talk to me about fair. Can I at least see Diego? No. Please. He's my grandson. He's also the kid you tried to manipulate into forgiving someone who hurt him. He's also the kid whose pain you minimized for 2 years. He's also the kid you chose last, every single time. Why should I let you near him? Because I love him. Loving him means protecting him. You didn't protect him. You sacrificed him for Jennifer. That's not love. I made mistakes. Yes, you did. And those mistakes cost you your relationship with your grandson. Those are your consequences. She left crying. That night, Diego asked, "Was that Grandma's car I saw this morning?" "Yes." "What did she want?" "To see you." "Do you want me to see her?" "No. But if you want to see her, I won't stop you." He thought about it. "I don't want to see her. Not yet. Maybe when I'm older and I understand more. But right now, it still hurts that she wanted you to give your kidney to someone who was mean to me." "That's valid. You don't have to see anyone you don't want to see. Even family? Especially family. Family doesn't get a free pass to hurt you." A week later, my father called. "Your mother is devastated. She barely leaves the house. She cries all the time. I'm sorry she's sad. But I can't fix this for her. Can you at least talk to her?" I did talk to her. She came to my house. I told her exactly what I needed. She can't do it. So there's nothing else to say. "What did you ask for?" I asked her to admit she was wrong, to apologize to Diego, to acknowledge that I did the right thing. She couldn't do any of those things. "Give her time. She's had 2 years. How much time does she need?" He sighed. "I don't know. But she's suffering." Diego suffered. For 8 years. From Jennifer's racism. Then for 2 more years from the family's response to my boundary. Nobody worried about his suffering. Why should I worry about hers? That's harsh. It's honest. Dad, you finally saw the truth. You apologized. You supported me. You told Diego you love him exactly as he is. Mom hasn't done any of that. Until she does, we have nothing to talk about. Okay. I understand. Thank you. 6 months after Jennifer's death, my mother sent a letter. Handwritten. 5 pages. Dear Amanda, I've spent the last 6 months thinking about everything that happened. I've read books about racism. I've talked to a therapist. I've done a lot of soul searching. And I've come to realize you were right. I was wrong. I enabled Jennifer's racism because it was easier than confronting her. I minimized what she said to Diego because acknowledging how serious it was would have meant admitting I'd failed as a mother and grandmother. I pressured you to donate because saving Jennifer felt more urgent than protecting Diego. I was wrong about all of it. You were right to withdraw as a donor. You were right to protect your son. You were right to set boundaries with me. I'm sorry I didn't support you. I'm sorry I tried to manipulate Diego. I'm sorry I chose Jennifer over both of you. I don't know if you'll ever forgive me. I don't know if Diego will ever want a relationship with me. But I needed you to know that I finally understand. You were right. I was wrong. And I'm sorry. Mom. I read the letter 3 times. Then I called my father. Did you know Mom was seeing a therapist? Yes. She started after she came to your house. She realized she'd lost both her daughters and she didn't know how to fix it. Did she ask you to tell me about the letter? No. She doesn't know I know about it. I found it on her desk after she mailed it. What do you think I should do? That's up to you. But I think she means it this time. I showed the letter to Diego. He was 9 now. Old enough to understand. What do you think? He read it carefully. I think Grandma is sad. I think she wishes she did things different. Do you want to see her? Can I think about it? Of course. He thought about it for a week. Then he said, I want to see her. But I want to ask her questions first. To see if she really means it. What kind of questions? Like, does she think I'm real family now? And does she think what Aunt Jennifer said was wrong? And why did she wait so long to apologize? Those are good questions. I called my mother. Diego wants to see you. But he has questions he needs you to answer first. Anything. I'll answer anything. We met at a park. Neutral territory. Diego brought his list of questions. My mother brought tissues. Diego sat across from her on a bench. Read his questions from a piece of paper. Grandma, do you think I'm real family? Yes. Absolutely. You always were. I was wrong to let anyone say otherwise. Do you think what Aunt Jennifer said was wrong? Yes. It was cruel and racist. She hurt you, and I'm sorry I defended her. Why did you wait so long to apologize? Because I was scared. I was scared of admitting I'd been a bad grandmother. I was scared of losing your mom completely. I was scared of looking at my own part in what happened. But I'm done being scared. I was wrong. And you deserved better. Diego looked at me, then back at her. Okay. I forgive you. But I need you to know, you can't say stuff like that to me. Ever. About me or about my dad or about anyone who looks like me. I won't, I promise. And if you do, Mama will protect me. Even from you. She should, that's her job. Okay, can I have a hug? My mother started crying. Yes, please. They hugged. I cried. My father, who'd been standing nearby, cried. Afterward, my mother asked, "Can I see Diego regularly? Can we rebuild?" Yes. But slowly. And if he ever feels uncomfortable, we stop. I understand. Over the next year, my mother and Diego rebuilt their relationship. She learned Spanish, she read books Diego recommended. She asked questions about his dad's culture. She showed up. We'll never be the same family we were before. Jennifer's gone. The aunts and uncles who signed that letter are mostly estranged. Some cousins don't speak to me. But the family I have now is better. It's honest. It's protective. It's anti-racist. And Diego knows, without question, that he's real family. 3 years after I withdrew as Jennifer's donor, Diego is 11 years old. He's thriving. He plays soccer. He's in advanced math. He speaks Spanish fluently. He knows who he is. Last week, he asked me, "Mama, do you ever regret not giving Aunt Jennifer your kidney?" No. Never. Even though she died? Even though she died. Why? Because giving her my kidney would have told you that racism is acceptable if family needs something. It would have taught you that your humanity is negotiable. I would never teach you that. But she died. Yes, she did. And that's sad. But she died because her kidneys failed and she couldn't find a donor. Not because I withdrew. I didn't cause her kidney disease. I didn't make her racist. I just refused to save someone who thought you were less than. Do you think she was sorry? At the end? I think she was sorry she was dying. I don't know if she was sorry for what she said to you. Not really sorry. Not deep down. Do you think I should have forgiven her? Do you wish you had? No, she never really apologized. Not to me. She apologized on Facebook, but she never looked me in the eyes and said she was wrong. Then you made the right choice. But some people think I'm mean for not forgiving her. Some people think being kind means accepting bad behavior. But real kindness is protecting people from harm. I was kind to you by protecting you from someone who hurt you. That's more important than being kind to her. He thought about that. Then he said, "I'm glad you didn't give her your kidney." Me too, baby. Me too. People still ask me about it. The story went viral enough that strangers recognize me sometimes. Last month, a woman stopped me at the grocery store. "You're the woman who wouldn't give her sister a kidney." I am. That was so cruel. I disagree. How can you live with yourself? Easily. My son is healthy and happy and knows he's loved. My sister made a choice to be racist. She lived with those consequences. I made a choice to protect my child. I'm living with those consequences too. I'm fine with how it turned out. But she died. Yes. And that's sad. But I didn't kill her. Kidney disease killed her. Racism isolated her. I just declined to save her from her own choices. You're heartless. I'm a mother. There's a difference. She walked away, shaking her head. Diego, who'd been standing next to me, said, "Are people always going to be mad at you about this?" Probably. Some people will never understand. Does it bother you? Not really. The people whose opinions I value support me. Everyone else can think what they want. The people whose opinions matter. My son, my ex-husband Carlos, my father, my mother now, my brother, the cousins who stood by me, the friends who understood. My mother has fully rebuilt her relationship with Diego. She babysits him every Friday. She goes to his soccer games. She celebrates Dia de los Muertos with him. She's learning. Last month, she told me, "I'm ashamed it took Jennifer dying for me to see clearly, but I'm grateful I eventually saw it." I'm grateful too. If I could go back, I'd do everything differently. I'd defend Diego at that Thanksgiving table. I'd tell Jennifer she was wrong. I'd support you immediately. I know. Do you forgive me? I'm getting there. You're doing the work. That matters. My father and I are closer than ever. He calls Diego every week. He sends him books about Mexican history. He's trying to make up for lost time. Carlos told me recently. You know, what you did changed my life too. How? I always knew racism existed. But seeing you stand up to your entire family for Diego, seeing you sacrifice a relationship with your sister, your mother, half your family, just to protect our son, that showed me what real allyship looks like. You didn't just say you support mixed families. You proved it. I was just protecting our kid. Exactly. And that's everything. Diego asked me recently if he could read about the whole story. He's 11 now, old enough to understand. I showed him the news articles, the Facebook posts, the comments. He read everything. Then he said, "A lot of people were really mad at you." Yes. But a lot of people supported you too. Yes. Which people were right? What do you think? I think the people who said you were protecting me were right. Because you were, that's all that matters to me. He paused. Mama, thank you for choosing me. I'll always choose you. Every time, no matter what. Even if it means someone dies? Even then, my job is to protect you, not to sacrifice you to save people who hurt you. Okay. He hugged me. I'm glad you're my mom. I'm glad you're my son. 6 lessons I learned from withdrawing as my sister's kidney donor. 1. Your child's well-being comes before anyone else's needs, including sick family members, including dying family members. Your first responsibility is to the child you're raising, not the adults who hurt them. 2. Racism doesn't get a pass because someone is ill. Being sick doesn't excuse bigotry. Jennifer's kidney disease didn't cause her racism. Her racism existed long before she got sick. I just finally saw it clearly. 3. You are not responsible for saving people from the consequences of their own choices. Jennifer chose to tell a child he wasn't real family. She chose racism. The consequences of that choice included losing her donor. Those were her consequences to bear, not mine to prevent. 4. Family loyalty should not mean accepting harm. Real family protects each other from harm, even when the harm comes from inside the family. Enabling racism in the name of family loyalty isn't loyalty. It's complicity. 5. Children remember who protected them and who didn't. Diego will remember that I chose him over my sister. He'll remember that his grandfather eventually came around. He'll remember that his grandmother had to earn her way back. These memories shape how he sees himself and his worth. 6. Some boundaries cost relationships, and that's okay. I lost my sister. I lost half my extended family. I nearly lost my mother. Those losses hurt. But keeping those relationships would have cost me my son's sense of self-worth. That was a price I would never pay. Most importantly, your organs are yours. Your body is yours. Your choices are yours. No one is entitled to your sacrifice, especially not people who can't see your child's humanity. I withdrew as my sister's kidney donor because she told my son he wasn't real family because his father is Mexican. She died 18 months later without finding another donor. Do I regret it? No. Would I do it again? Yes. Because at the end of the day, the question isn't how do I save my sister? The question is, how do I protect my child? And once you know the answer to that question, everything else becomes clear. So let me ask you this. If someone told your child they weren't real family because of their race, what would you be willing to sacrifice to protect them? What relationships would you be willing to lose? What family would you be willing to walk away from? Because that's what parenthood is. Not keeping the peace, not preserving relationships at any cost, but protecting your child, even when it costs you everything, even when it costs your organs. Thank you for listening to my story. If you've ever had to choose between family loyalty and protecting your child from racism, you're not alone. The choice is hard, but it's also clear. Choose your child. Every time. They're real family. They always were.